Little free jumpstart Simon Says going on. Matt should be joining here pretty soon. Didn't know they did this cover song. Sounds good. Ik niet dat. 2 minutes longer.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Here,
I
let me
can't hear
plug.
you, so hold on. Do my tech-tarded shit here. Hold on, hold on. It needs to pop out of here just a sec. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You
Damn,
hear
you're
me?
really. Yeah, but barely.
Let me pause the music in the background. There we go. Any better?
Um, it's kind of quiet.
Really?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Nothing in app I could find that.
Hold on. Let me go
Okay.
out and come back in.
Okay. Any better?
All right.
All right.
See, that's better.
Better? Okay. I
Yeah.
had I had your guys' unreleased independent playing on the background. I guess you could find it on YouTube.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. This guy, his channel's Melomano Addicto.
Oh, I've heard of that dude.
Yeah, he's got it on there. I didn't know you guys covered Heartbreaker.
Yeah, we covered Heartbreaker actually a few times. We
Yeah.
did it in Simon Says, and then we did it in Key to Arson too early on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
kind
pretty
of
good.
depends on who you ask.
You know, it's not the original, obviously, but I liked it. It was a nice take.
Right on.
Yeah. I kind of smirked when I heard it come on. I'm like, oh, really? They did that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do that live a lot. So
Crowd pleaser or no?
yeah, I mean it was kind of a local, like it's kind of an early on thing that we did, people
Yeah.
I think it was one of those things where it's like the early fans were like kind of held that close to their heart. Like if you knew when Simon Says did Heartbreaker, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, I wasn't around listening to you guys when you had your independent stuff out. So I didn't even
Yeah.
know about it until you guys reemerged. I'm like, they have two independents that aren't even on streaming. What?
Oh yeah. No, I mean
Yeah.
if we even get the majors out, then the independents weren't going to come out.
Yeah. I'll say this: the way the sound that Perfect Example has, I love it, man. Like it's kind of got like this Deftones adrenaline kind of sound to it. I really dig it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Bold and Perfect Example sound better to me, anyways, on this than on Jumpstart,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
There's part of the reason why I don't like Jumpstart. I mean, we just didn't execute, So
Yeah.
that
Hey, man, what can you do? It's almost every band has that one album in their discography that they're kind of like, yeah, it's okay, but we could have done this way. So
yeah, we were just talking about this the other day. uh, a couple of us in the band, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we just I don't know that we were necessarily ready. You know what I mean? Like we were really young when we got signed, and I think we were worthy of having a record deal, but I don't know that we were ready to make that first record. Like I feel like it was kind of underdeveloped by the time that
Yeah.
we went in and did it, you know. So, and
Hey, we
yeah,
call those growing pains.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not bummed about it. It
Yeah.
is what it is, but it's just that's I mean, we've got fans that are like, dude, that's your best one. Like Shut Your Breath, just it missed me. I don't get Shut Your Breath, but Jumpstart, as Simon Says. So it's kind of, I mean, it's like, it's probably 50-50. So I mean, it is what it is. But for me personally, I think the performances could have been better. I think it could have been much better sonically. I think our songwriting was close, but it wasn't quite there yet, you know?
Right. I mean, I'll just put this out there. If you guys end up thinking about doing this and not just a couple of songs from Jumpstart, you could always just go through and do the whole album again, you know,
Yeah.
as today Simon Says. But maybe not like a high priority for you guys. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think we're open to kind of doing things. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that, a big part of this wasn't being fueled by, you know, fan interest. So it's like if there's kind of ends up being a demand where it's like, look, we're getting a lot of you know interest for re-recording stuff, like, I mean, we'll definitely entertain it. So I mean, that's kind of why we're doing Life Jacket.
yeah,
It's because, like, I think that was kind of that one tune on that record that, like, since it was such a focal point, I think it could have been a lot better,
yeah.
and I think this version that we're going to do is going to be better.
I wouldn't be surprised. My introduction to that song was actually on Johnny Tsunami. You
Yeah,
remember
that was
that
a,
movie?
I never saw the movie, but and I didn't even know that we were in it
Yeah, yeah.
until long after the fact. But Disney movie, Disney owned record label, so they do
Makes
it.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty I don't know. I feel kind of surreal about you guys being around again. I said that I think the last time we talked.
Yeah.
Um, like I was talking to a buddy at work, I was saying I want to track down the guy from Switched and try and get those guys back together too, because putting them on a bill with you guys and doing something would just it'd be awesome. I'm sure you know who those guys are. I mean,
Yeah, they were on
yeah,
Immortal. Yeah.
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 Great first record too.
Yeah.
Um, I I had a reason I was going to bring up Perfect Example. Did you guys try and work more of those songs from that record onto Jumpstart than just the two at the time, or did you just kind of label tell you guys, hey, we like these songs, if they even heard, the Independents, and then went from there?
No, I think we set out, I mean, I could be wrong. My memory is that we set out to write new stuff. I think that we knew that there were a couple of solid tracks on Perfect Example that were, I think, transcendent, that could kind of like could be on the next record. One of those being Perfect Example. Like, that was kind of our signature tune, you know what I mean? That
Mhm.
that intro, and we opened a lot of shows with that song. That was kind of like the record scratch where it was like, once you heard that, it was like, oh, they're on.
Yeah.
And so when we were, a local band and doing the local band thing, that was like quintessential Simon Says. That was like the crowd, like favorite. So
Wow.
So that one, we definitely knew that we wanted that one on the record, and we always felt like, man, if we could do this with a major label budget, we'd probably slam it. And then Bold, I don't know, Bold was just always like a really cool live song for us. I never really thought of that song as like a hit or anything. I mean, I never really thought of Simon Says as writing hits. I mean, we were never like some hit machine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Bold kind of did the same thing for us internally. I think lyrically the message was pretty universal, but like I liked it. I it was one of those tunes where I was proud of the lyrical content. Like, I mean, I have a lot of songs that like I just I won't say I cringe, but like I'm always like, oh man, like I this is so much better. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think those two tunes specifically were like probably the most melodic and the most mature, like of some of the early Simon Says stuff. I mean, when you listen to that Perfect Example record, you know, there's songs like Glimpse and you know where it's like they're
Subterfuge.
yeah, so there are no choruses. Like if you think about it, like the choruses are just screamy moments. Like we didn't
Uh-huh.
really write choruses. It was like a kind of a melodic verse and then like a big explosive like "Rah!" and then another melodic verse and then like a bridge and there'd be some kind of like, you know, alternate riff and then it'd be like heavy screamy thing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Imperfect Example had actual choruses. Were catchy or not, they had choruses, right? So it was like we knew that we wanted to grow as songwriters. So I think those two tunes like had those elements. Everything else was like we kind of wanted to grow, and I felt like some of that early stuff, it was, while I'm proud of it, it was kind of like I think we're on to better songwriting than this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, and so back to your question. So I remember us like writing like let's get in the lab and like let's go write because once we knew that we were getting the deal and it was all essentially done, like we all quit our jobs. I mean, we were getting a living expense from the record deal at
Right.
that point. So it was like now we can be in our practice space all day, every day, rather than, well, we get 3 hours after work at night until, you know, 7 to 11 type thing or 8 to 11. Now it's like, well, we wake up, we can just go to the studio. So we really had the time and the motivation to write. So so we wrote the like all those songs for that record. I mean, that's why there's only two from Perfect Example on that record or
Okay,
on
that
Jump.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Life Jacket and songs like On My Way and, you know, Seamless and like we were like that was the direction that we were going, you know what I mean? And I still think a lot of those songs could have been executed much better. I think I think Seamless is probably one of my favorite songs on Jumpstart. I mean, it's like one of those deep sleepers that like would never ever do anything on radio, but there's something about it that I dig and it's like I just wish we could have like everybody, not just the band. I mean like from producer to management to record company, like, you know, executives, like I wish we all could have just had more of a scoped like universal vision of what we were trying to do and all be on the same page because we really kind of weren't, you know, we were this heavy band like writing these melodic songs but from a heavy standpoint and it just didn't, in my opinion, it just didn't come across on Jumpstart. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You have
Yeah.
much kind of doing it and executing it much better than we were, like, you know, and it's like they got it right, they got the guitar tones right, they got the drum tones right, they got all the nuance in the background and all the production and the layering and the atmosphere right. Like our record was just so bare bones and like, but like glossy at the same time and like polished, but in the wrong way. It's just weird. And maybe part of that is because we were kind of tapping into something that hadn't really been done before. I mean, that sounds kind of douchey. I mean, bands were doing what we were doing, but like, I don't know, it wasn't really like mainstream yet either.
Yeah, I feel like I understand it. Yeah.
And all of our influences that might have been doing that kind of thing, they weren't mainstream successes ever. So maybe that's part of it. We were like following this like sort of model or this journey of these other bands that like they hadn't really broken through either. Like people, it still hadn't been executed where like the masses were getting it. You know what I mean? So maybe that's part of it. Maybe if we had been influenced by ultra mega pop star bands, then like we would have written ultra mega pop star songs and had that production, who knows?
Could have been. Could have been.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, as much as as much as I am super grateful that the quote unquote new metal world is like has embraced us, and I never want to like talk like that's a bad thing. Like I could care less. Like if we're new metal to you, we're new metal. If we're just rock, and then I don't give a shit what you categorize us as. I'm just grateful that the new metal community has embraced us, and that's awesome. But like, having said that, I don't necessarily know that I feel like we're like new metal as far as like whatever that's defined as. And we were trying not to do what a lot of those bands were doing at the time. That's not to say that we didn't respect them or that we didn't like have a lot of friends that were doing like things that we weren't doing, but artistically as a band we were trying not to go like the Ozfest route. Like we didn't, we liked those bands and we liked that culture, but like we we're not trying to sound like those bands. Like I'm not a rapper and I'm not like super aggro, like rough vocal, like roar, fucking where every song's just like get back and I'll fuck you up and rah, like we weren't about that. So
Right.
it's like I, I don't know. So like I don't know where I was going with that, but
I think I
but I think
understand.
that
Yeah.
but I think that's kind of like part of like that genre wasn't really a genre yet when we were like making Jumpstart and when it kind of came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, people kind of lumped if it had the kind of like a term I remember hearing a lot, like attached to like bands like Swished or Flaw, Lifer, or what's another one? Nothing Face, is like the angst in their music, and like they always sounded angry about something or hurt by something. And if they had that kind of how do I want to put this, that sound, the sound that
Mhm.
people said is new metal. I think
Right.
that's why when Shut Your Breath came out, that's why you guys started getting tagged as new metal, because they familiarized it with that
Hmm.
already established, bands that have been doing the sound maybe a little bit before Shut Your Breath came out, but you know what I mean?
Hmm.
They didn't really get what new metal was, and so they just lumped whatever band they felt like under the category, and then
Sure.
took a dump on them because they didn't feel like new metal was a credible, respectable genre or sound at the time. You
Hmm.
know, I um I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought with that, but I think it was along like just the whole new metal thing, right? I,
Yeah.
I get
I mean,
where you're coming from is what I think I'm trying to say with
yeah.
so you
Yeah.
wanted your guys' own identity, and sometimes you just can't help how it's received by people and how it's labeled. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think aesthetic has a lot to do with it too. And we look like everyone else. We had short hair, you know, we
Mhm.
wearing like saggy pants and like oversized shirts and Adidas. And I mean, like we looked the part, you know. I mean, we all were doing the same fucking thing, and I think that's part of it too. And again, I have no problem with it. I mean, if we're a new metal band, we're a new metal band. Okay, great. I don't care. I don't get hung up on like, no, man, you have to see us how I see us. Like I don't,
I get it. Yeah.
you know. But I think, you know, I just think that like, I guess my point in all that was at the time I probably didn't, none of us probably really understood why, like maybe we were missing, like we were getting respect from like our peers, and like we were getting respect from, you know, our friends, and you know, obviously we have, you know, you know, we built a cool fan base and stuff. I mean, there were people that were getting it, but as far as on a global level, like, you know, at the time, I think we were kind of like, what don't you get? You know, now looking back, it's like I completely understand why people didn't get it. You know, it was like there was really nowhere to like put us. And we've probably talked about this before, but you know,
Mhm.
it was like, you know, we were, you know, too heavy for the Green Day kids and not heavy enough for the Corn kids, and like, so it was this weird thing. And my my point in kind of going back to, you know, the Jumpstart thing is like, and the production of Jumpstart didn't help that. Like that kind of fell somewhere in this weird gray middle area too. It was like, is it a heavy record? Is it a polished record? Is it like what is this? It's cool, but like I don't really know what to do with this. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go, you know, back to like my comfort zone and listen to bands that like that's really easily identifiable. You know what I mean? And I'm speaking from like the average like music listener.
Listener. Mhm.
Yeah, you know. And because like I said, you have bands coming along, you know, 2 years later doing exactly what we were doing and doing it really well and blowing up and like having huge success, and we're just like, what happened?
Kind of felt left behind in a sense, or
Yeah,
overlooked, like you've been saying.
yeah, because like in real time we didn't understand it. Now I
Right.
understand, but yeah, in the moment we're just like, okay, well, we were around before all these motherfuckers. Like, why can't we get that tour? Why isn't our record selling 100,000 a week? Like, why aren't we on TRL? You know?
Yeah.
But you know, it's, dude, credit to all those other bands out there that like kind of created
I
that
mean,
genre. It's just like,
yeah. I mean,
dude,
and success is success as well, you know, with them too that got the success, you
right.
know. Hey buddy. Yeah, he's grabbing my hand. Um,
Nah,
so hmm. This new stuff that you guys have been, and I know we touched on this in the last one about how you guys are going about it, because before you put together Shut Your Breath pretty much on tour, you said, you know, on sound checks and things. Have you guys started to find kind of like your niche as far as how you're having to do it now?
like our process.
Yeah, like a process, because you said you guys at the time were trying to find your footing with it. Has
Yeah.
that gotten a little bit easier now?
No, not really. Not that it's hard. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a really good, positive, you know, vibe, and
Right.
it's not hard to do this stuff, but there's definitely still not really like a flow or a rhythm, and that's only because, like, I mean, we've kind of done this to ourselves in a certain way, you know. I mean, it was, you know, we talked about how this whole thing kind of came to, you know, be in the first place, how we reconnected and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, originally the thought process was like, all right, well, let's just get the records up online and we'll just kind of sit back, see what the reaction is, and then we'll kind of gauge it from there. And there was really good reaction right off the bat. I mean, it has since like fizzled, like we knew it would. It was like, you know, it was like bam, like out of the gate, oh shit, you know, and all the numbers were skyrocketing. And then it's like, all right, cool. I've been listening to this nonstop for like 2 months now. I'm all right. I'm gonna like take a break. And so, and we didn't have anything new to put out, but before we even kind of got that, like before we even gave ourselves a chance to just kind of watch it, it was like shit started getting put in motion. Like I told you, like we ended up with management, like I mean within days of like this stuff happening. And then it was like, okay, cool. So then what? It's like, all right, well, now we're getting show offers. And like, so we're fielding show offers before we even really knew what we're gonna like do. Like, can we even facilitate any of this stuff? Um, and we've got an agent now, so it's like now we're getting more show offers that we're, I'd like, that we're kind of having to figure out like how are we gonna do this. And then, you want to put kind of like a maybe some goals in place, right? So because I know otherwise we're just going to sit back and like nothing is going to happen. Like I know us well enough to know that we're so established in our personal individual lives that like this is going to take some real effort and some real commitment to like just get together on a regular basis and continue to churn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we don't put any goals in front of us, we are just going to sit around and like not really do shit. We just know that. So it was like, well, we were all really excited about the idea of writing new music. So it's like, then you throw that into the mix. All right, well, let's write some new shit. Let's see if we can even write a song anymore. So it's like, okay, now we're writing new material. Now we've got management. Now we've got an agent. Now we're doing, shows across the country, essentially at this point. It's like, there's just like no chill. So where I'm going with this is like, it hasn't really allowed us any kind of time or the ability to kind of sit back and like get a process because it's all so jumbled so quick. So like, we started writing some new material, started file sharing, and we've kind of come a long way. Like we've got some good chunks and we've got some stuff that we're probably ready to like get in and really start to fine tune. But in the midst of all that, it was like, hey, let's do some re-releases. Let's get something out that we've been talking about doing to kind of like keep the interest up. So we're like, all right, well, let's do Life Jacket, and we got to do Dyslexic Smile. That was a no-brainer. That was the one that like never got released. So let's try and do, let's get that one released. So that's kind of shifted our focus. So like, so for the past 2 weeks, we've been tracking that stuff. We've been, basically getting that all edited, ready to ship off to mixing. So like the songwriting kind of got put on the back burner because and then in between all that, it's like, hey, we got a show in 2 months. Like we don't even have a set yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we're still trying to get through like songs that we haven't played in 23 years,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So no, there is no flow. The process is all over the place, but it's exciting and we're all really stoked, and it's like, it is what it is, man. We're just happy, so
That's good, man. That's good.
yeah.
I think that things are where they're needing to be, despite some of it. I kind of understand feeling a little bit disjointed, a little bit not unfocused, but just a little bit not at center as much as you kind of would want it to be.
Yeah, just kind of scattered. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that will all come with a little bit of more time. Like that footing will come. You guys will find that footing. Have you guys tried putting in that little space that Mike has at his studio that he does his drawing videos? Like that's a stage, and like hashing ideas out for new songs there. I don't can he record anything there? Like I saw a video with him and Zach tracking Dyslexic Smile's drum parts. And you guys could record there too? Have you tried that?
Yeah, no, we've talked about it. We just haven't had the opportunity to try it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, we've talked about it. Like it's something that we want to do because that's really the only way Simon Says is ever written. It's like
Mhm.
together, and like there was no file back when we were writing. So, no, it's definitely something we want to do, and we have the capability to do it. We just kind of have to set the evening up to be like that.
Right.
So, because the stuff doesn't get left there, we have to set up and tear down every time because Mike uses the facility every day.
Right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
like if we're gonna do like a writing night, then we kind of have to set up for like writing. If we're gonna do rehearsal, then so and we've been so focused on rehearsal because we know we can write like all day every day. We can file share. Yeah, it's not in the room together, but we can still share ideas. So our focus when we get in the room is to rehearse because I mean, that's first and foremost. Like, I mean, if we're not ready for the show, why the hell are we even doing it? You know?
Right. Got to get those songs dusted off and
Yeah.
uh, get that not polished, but just prepared.
Yeah. It's got to be
Yeah.
where we're about it.
But if I make it to that March show, I'm gonna take whatever you guys give. Like it's been 20 plus years, and I thought you guys were gone for good. So absolutely making every effort that I'm gonna be there on March 22nd to see it. I'm sure you guys will probably announce shows that might be in Oregon or closer to where I'm at. Maybe, but I've already been making a plan. So yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
So we've got a couple shows that we're doing uh kind of throughout the country. And in order to make them viable, we're gonna have to kind of route to each one. So like while the guarantees are good, it's still not really worth it for us to like go fly out and do one-offs and come home, right? So we're gonna kind of do some routing like to and from these shows. Obviously, we have the one in Pennsylvania that we've posted about.
Yeah, the festival.
Yeah. We've got another one in Wisconsin, August with Nonpoint and Head PE.
Oh, really? Non-point.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um, I don't. It's like middle to end of August, something like that. We haven't said anything yet, so
Oh, I won't go blabbing. Don't worry.
and then we've got one in Montana. I think it's outside of Bozeman. I'm not exactly sure where, but that's we're gonna do a show with STP and Hoobastank. Um, so being that all of it pretty much is north of us and east, I could very easily see us coming through like, you know, Oregon or Idaho or Utah or even up north like Washington and cutting across either on the way
Mhm.
there or back. So yeah, as this stuff kind of like rolls out and we get more details and we figure out like what kind of routing we're going to do, if we're going to try to put a package together or if there's a package that would be willing to take us on for a short stint, then like, you'll obviously know about it because if we come close to you, then cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that LA show was, I think now it's Boy Hits Car and Us. So
Yeah. Are they
it's like,
gonna be the headliners now? Because they're up on top on the banner, or
yeah, I don't know. I think they or their camp made that flyer.
oh,
I,
okay.
I, as far as I know, I thought it's probably like a co-headlining thing. I mean, we don't really give a shit,
I was gonna
We're,
say I don't think you guys probably would.
I, who cares? I mean, they're definitely like bigger and they've been more
Yeah.
active, like, so
Yeah, well, it is kind of silly to get hung up on where you're at on the bill. I just
yeah,
say go play the show, have fun, and you know.
yeah, yeah. I'm
So
too old for this, so.
maybe the younger Simon Says got hung up on that. I don't know, but
Yeah, because we toured with those guys. We did like a national tour for, gosh, close to 3 months with those guys back in around 2000.
mhm.
So it was probably on a Shut Your Breath run or maybe a late Jumpstart run, and like we we spent a lot of time with those dudes. I think it's just one dude that's like original in that band now.
And Boy His
But
Car?
yeah, I
Or
think so.
really?
Yeah, I
I
think
know
it's
the
just
singer's the same.
yeah, I think it's just Craig because
Oh,
the original player Scott is not in the band anymore.
okay.
Lewis, guitar player's not in the band anymore, and I don't think that's their original drummer. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've listened to those guys for a while, but I didn't know that it wasn't all original anymore. I haven't really looked at that either, though. So
well, I never either until I was like, oh, we're playing together. So I kind of looked and I was like, wait, this nobody I remember except for Craig.
right.
Uh,
um, one sec, my kid's climbing
all
on
good.
the entertainment
Oh.
center. Come on, buddy. Go play. All right. I had a plan or a thought that I was gonna ask you if you had a song title you could give me for a new song. And that way I could imagine what it might sound like. Because I know what we've already heard that you guys have posted up is probably already changed dramatically from how it sounded. So
Right. Sorry, hold on, I'm distracted right
it's
now.
all
Hold
right.
on just a sec.
All right.
Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any song titles. We have working titles, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if we're gonna go with those or actually some of the working titles are kind of cool. They just don't have anything to do with the song.
Right. So basically, like the subject matter doesn't connect with the title, basically. Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
Like pretty much just like a reference to like maybe the sound of something, you know what I mean?
uh,
Like so like we've got one that kind of starts with like this kind of like eerie bass line and we're calling it Dark Crawl because it kind of just sounds like a dark like crawl.
Automatically, I'm thinking of the intro for Limos when you say like the
Oh yeah.
bass,
Yeah. Well,
like that's the first thing I think of because I love that intro.
right.
Like if it that's got me more excited now because like I've said it a dozen times, like that sound on Shut Your Breath was just to me perfect. It was perfection. So yeah, that's exciting. I love those chunky bass lines. Like
Right.
my crushes on with that stuff. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully we kind of we get close or even better because I know for all four of us in the band like that like we all agree on that with Shut Your Breath. I think that's why we hold it in such high regard is like there's I have nothing to say about it. There's no like, oh man, if we only would have done this or only would have done that. Like I'm like, I mean, I hear like I've said, like I hear mistakes all over on that record, but it's only like you'll never hear them. Like my wife will never hear them. Like my dad will never hear them. Fans will never hear them. It's only I only know because like I created them. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
But like, even hearing all that stuff, I'm like, nope, I wouldn't touch it. It's all good. I'm cool with the little, you know, flub here or the little bad note there or like whatever, like it, So
Yeah. I
yeah.
agree. Yeah, I won't lie, I'm really eager to hear something like a 30-second clip of something that's more finished or maybe like a little bit of like a studio thing of like you singing something in the vocal booth that I saw you having set up there behind Zach in that pick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just exciting, man. Like I hope you know that like even though if it's fizzled out as far as like that doesn't mean we've went anywhere. Like we're just here waiting,
Right.
watching,
Yeah.
ready for that announcement of like, hey guys, next month, new song, or here's the EP that we've been talking about with the 2 reworks and the 1 new song. And I
Right.
did want to bring up Emo Core. Who thought that up? I went to your guys' website and I'm like, kind of looked at that. I'm like, Emo Core, what?
What website? We have
It's
a
the
website.
simonsays.us. Yeah.
Okay,
it kind of read
where
like
does
it was.
where does it where does it say it? I'm only
Uh,
like I don't. I'll try to answer because I don't know. It sounds like it didn't come from us.
no,
So
I don't think so. It's not something that to me sounded like anybody in the band would
yeah,
reference to any kind of sound you had. But I think it's in the first paragraph of when you click on the about or let's see
is
here.
it like a full bio type thing?
Yeah, it's the about the band. Yeah, it's the Sacramento emo core / new metal pioneers. Simon Says.
That sounds like something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I chuckled at it. I'm like, okay.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I don't know. I never really like. It's funny because again, like emo wasn't really a
Never.
thing.
Yeah,
I mean, bands were doing that kind of stuff. I mean, we were influenced by some of those early bands like Sunny Day Real Estate and but I mean it wasn't called emo back then. I guess it would have been like post-hardcore or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like
yeah.
I just
That's
I
probably a little more accurate.
yeah, I can't I just I can't get into all the compartmentalizing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Uh but after emo becomes a thing and it's just like new metal or whatever, it's like all right, like yeah, I guess we kind of have elements of that because I mean you can hear it on Jumpstart, you can hear it on Perfect Example, you
Mhm.
can I mean so I think there is I think they're just like people like to compartmentalize us as new metal. I think there's definitely probably a group that would categorize us as emo as well. I mean, just like bands that we looked up to far. I mean, they were doing it before, we were, and before emo was emo, but
Yeah.
now they're like, the emo pioneers, and they're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like,
For me,
they're just,
I don't care what a band's labeled. If I like them, I like them.
right,
Like
right.
I think labels are a little bit silly, honestly. I've always
Yeah,
kind of felt that way.
I know we do it, and I'm guilty of it too. Like if I'm trying to describe something to someone, yeah, I'll throw labels on things just because it's
Yeah.
like I can't describe it. So here, just think this, you know what I mean,
Something
or
they'll be
whatever.
familiar with, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think management probably, it sounds like something that they probably came up with, like to kind of like, help reestablish, like, hey, what's up, and yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
we always called ourselves um our sarcastic nature, like early on when we were back in the mid 90s, and this was long before record deal, but we would you know we played with a lot of hardcore bands and we fashioned ourselves in the hardcore scene even though we weren't like hardcore,
Mhm.
uh but we weren't like pop punk either, so we just called ourselves almost core because it was like that was like our sarcasm, like I know we're pussies to like you hardcore guys because like I'm not fucking Earth Crisis, I'm not Strife, you know what I mean, but so we always just went like yeah, okay, like we'll go ahead and make fun of ourselves, we're almost core, we're almost cool,
Almost cool. You're almost there.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, yeah. Have you guys reconnected with any other bands that you guys have toured with since you guys have resurfaced? Maybe Taproot or
Yeah, no, definitely Taproot.
yeah.
um yeah, I went out, they do this thing called like Taproot Tuesdays on their Facebook, I guess.
Uh I've seen
And
them pop up.
yeah, and early on in this whole process, um I they invited me on, and our management, our Tom is the same manager.
Uh
So he's like, hey dude, come on. So I went on, and yeah, Phil and Jared were on there, and so we kind of shot the shit a little bit. Um, I haven't personally spoken to Steve, although we've had interaction, like talking about each other, like you know um, on their Taproot Tuesday, or like me, like via you know
Uh,
or he was doing like a live Instagram video one night, like super late. Like it was almost midnight my time, so it was probably close to 3 in the morning for him, where he's at. And I just happened to be up, and um, I was just surfing Instagram and I saw he was live, so I went on and I was like, "Hey, dude, what's up? It's Matt." And he was like, "Oh shit, what's up?" So we kind of like, I don't think he believed it was me, because he was like, "If this is really you, dude, like, fuck yeah, yada yada yada." I was drinking, so who knows? He might have been drinking.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. So definitely those dudes. I know, me personally, I'm really bad at maintaining relationships, so I personally have not reached out to anyone, because I don't have anyone's info anymore.
Uh,
I close to a lot of dudes and a lot of bands, but I'm just really bad at that. I know
yeah.
Zach has reached out to a handful of people that we used to be close with, that are, big today, and like he's had nothing but positive responses. Like, dude, that's rad. Let's hook up. Blah 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 blah. Um, whether that amounts to anything, who knows? But it is cool that like people are like, oh shit, dude, yeah, what's up? It's been a while, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting who who pops up when just any band that's been out or not out but inactive for a while pops up, and then old peers start to take notice and maybe start to give offers of like, hey, come out on a show with us, hang out. That's why I keep mentioning Taproot, because I wanted to see a bill with you guys on there with them, because that was back when I was in high school. That was like a dream concert for me, as you guys with Taproot. So,
well,
and I've been thinking about reaching out to Steve and seeing if he'd want to do an interview, but I don't know. I'm a little intimidated to do that one. Honestly, he seems down to earth, but I don't want to. Like, I have one with Aaron from Gemini Syndrome that I'm doing next Monday. Actually, he was
uh,
super chill about it. But I don't know how to approach a lot of these guys. Like, I was even a little bit iffy about approaching you about it, even though you seem more than approachable.
right.
Um, but yeah, I try not to crowd. That's why I don't text you a whole lot or anything like that. Or uh, yeah,
That's all
anyway,
good,
just
man. I think I I mean, I obviously I don't know you that well. It's not like we grew up together or anything, but
oh
I
yeah,
I I can sense that you're probably like self-aware enough to know like when like you're not being well received, and I would think that most of these people are like, they're adults, they're big boys. Like if you were
yeah,
texting much, I'd go, hey man, like I want to do everything I can for you. I just like it just bear with me, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
At least that's me. I think Steve is probably chill enough to where you could reach out to him. um you know I, you might even try doing it through the other guys. I don't know how active he is. Even me, like I reached out to him via DM on Instagram, and like, I mean, to nothing. You know what I mean? So, and I know that I know that we have mad respect for each other. So I didn't take it personal. I just know how DMs on Instagram go, and like, I have no followers. I have no social media presence. And like, I miss direct messages all the time. I don't see them because I have a private account, and they go into the request thing, and it's like, I'll miss it for literally like months, like the Holiday Kurt dude, it's like the New Metal Moments guy. Like he was reaching out to me for over a year. I
Wow.
didn't, I didn't know. He finally got in touch with me through Sages. Like, you know what I mean? So, I guess my point is like, like I'm more than happy to do this kind of stuff. Like it's just my personality. Like I'm you know, I'm just, I don't know, like I always want to give, you know, what I feel like I would want, like as somebody that was into, you know, a fan of a band or whatever. Like, you know, I mean, they say never meet your idols, and not that I'm saying I'm idol, but like, or you're
Yeah.
here, whatever. But it's like I've had plenty of those moments where it's just like, wow, like I couldn't have more deflated. Like you couldn't have treated me any less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know their story. Like I dude, like people have bad days. I try not to take it personal, but like I think because I've been on that side of it, like I always just try to like, dude, if I can chat with you, then I'll chat with you. If I can't, I won't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so uh yeah, like you know, but I totally understand that. Just kind of like being a little like, "Whew, okay, because you know, I'm shy by nature, and like I always have a hard time like, you know, sacking up. You know, even if I know that I'm cool with the person, like I'll still be like, he'll talk to me if he wants to talk to me, or you know, she'll reach out if she's, you know, so. But all you can do is try. And the cool thing about the internet is like, dude, you don't have to even do this face to face, bro.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of how I've been
You can
approaching
get,
it. I just, huh?
I say, you can get rejected and like not even to your face.
Yeah, like basically how I've been doing this since you were my first, obviously, is that I send him a DM and I lay it all out there of what I'm doing, and I'm just like, just completely honest about it. And I think that's why so far everybody said yes. It's just
Yeah,
like I just I'm completely real about it. I'm like, I'm not looking for anything from this other than just the talk,
yeah.
just asking questions, just as a fan. Um,
Well, I
and
think
I
it's how
think,
you carry yourself too. You know, I think when you get a direct message from someone, you can tell if they're full of shit or not. You know,
yeah,
like I there are plenty of direct messages I don't respond to when it's like I can tell like you have no idea what you're even talking about. Like it's like you don't give two shits really. You're just kind of like you're thirsty for something. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's
You
fun. It's funny you'd bring that up because my wife watched the first one we did, and she said that you looked surprised at how much I knew about the band,
yeah,
or
yeah,
just like I had thoughts about songs and like interpretations, or I wanted
right,
to know. I was hungry for it. And
yeah,
she's like, I think he picked up on that, and I think it made him excited to want to, keep talking about it. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, I hope so. I'm
yeah,
definitely not some fraud on the internet, fake
right,
fan of the band or anything. So
right.
I'm glad that that was apparent to her.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. Everybody's got different personalities, and like
Yeah.
some people just don't, you know, doesn't mean, you know, some people just don't talk as much. Like
Yeah.
when you get going, I'll go and go and go and go. You know, and I have plenty of friends that are like I know get excited about certain things, and I'll just kind of be like, you don't really seem very excited, but it's like their personality is just like, yeah, hey, you know, like
Just that way.
I don't have the ability to be real concise. Like I don't have that ability. So I talk and talk and talk and talk. Like, you know, I use 100 words when I could just five. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like it is your wife was right. Like it's like if like, you know, if you come across like you have a genuine interest, then like I'll talk with you till I'm hoarse. You know what I mean? It's when, you know, people are like, okay, I'm gonna read this next one. So who are your influences and when did you know you wanted to start playing music? Okay, go. You're just like, dude, I don't want to do this. Like,
Yeah, those are kind of like the snore fest interviews
yeah,
because
it's
they're
not,
so formulaic and they're just typical. There's no like natural flow to them.
yeah, it's not real, you know, and you know, that's why Howard Stern is Howard Stern, because it's like he's mastered the art of just having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I told you early on, like, dude, let's just have a conversation. If you want to write things out, that's cool. You know what I mean? But like, you know, it's like you can get in what you're trying to ask with like just like if we're sitting about a bar having a drink. you know.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if I make it to March, the March 22nd show, that's what I planned on doing, is buying you a beer.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, because I kind of already have the wife's blessing to go down there, but
Right,
she is nervous because it's California, and you know
right.
the horror stories that probably people share about California, and I'm like, that's anywhere in the United States, honestly. So,
It's not real
but
California, Northern California. It's boring here.
yeah. Anyway, man, you wanting to head home? Because like I said, we do this any amount of times as long as you're up for it.
Yeah, I got like a half hour, but whatever
Okay.
works.
Just want to be mindful of your time is all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, any any funny stories you could share from I had a laugh at the one of you guys sitting down and talking about how you're old and you don't have the energy for these 20-year-old songs anymore. Is that you still feeling like that practicing those songs, or is it getting easier?
Yeah, I mean, it when you're just chilling, standing there playing, that's one thing, but that's not what Simon Says ever did. Like we never just stood there
Yeah.
like,
You were all over those stages on the footage that I seen. All of you, you're just like energy all over the place. So
right. I think that gives, if I'm being completely honest, I think it gives me a little anxiety, like not like, oh God, but like just a little bit of like I don't know, because I think people are going to be expecting like what like they saw when we stopped playing. And I mean, we went out at like the top of our game. Like
Mhm.
we were as big as we ever were when we stopped. So not that that was big, but I mean,
Mhm.
we weren't on the down, like we didn't ride it out, you know what I mean? So
Right.
um so we were like a machine, you know what I mean? Like we like that's how we rolled, you know? I mean, we it was well rehearsed. It was like we didn't think about like parts. It was just mechanical at that point,
Mhm.
you know. And to your point, like that's what we're known for. It's like, oh my God, the live show, the live show, the live show, you know? So like I think I get a little nervous because it's like, dude, that it ain't gonna be like that. Like you know what I mean? Like we're all 47 years old. Like it's like, dude, you know what I mean? And like while we're not just gonna stand there, I know we're gonna
Right.
rock, but it's like if you're expecting like shut your breath like peak live show, like sorry, like
Yeah. You know, and hopefully people will already expect that, because like it's not like you could be 70 years old like or older like the Rolling Stones. I don't know how they're still going up there and doing what they're doing, you know?
right,
Like
right,
you age, you get older, your body starts to ache in ways it didn't before. Like,
yeah,
and I already knew going in, 'cause I had to talk with my friend about it. Like, I know Matt's not going to sound exactly the same as what he did when he was 20 some years old, but I'm not really that concerned about that,
right.
you know.
I yeah,
At least for me, you know, like I'm not really concerned about how much you guys move on the stage now.
yeah,
Like, and it's hard for, I understand what you're saying. It's hard for you to not think about that because the expectation that you feel like a lot of people might have from that have seen you way back when.
right.
All I can say to that is that be in the moment, you know, like you'll know when you're up there doing it what you could do, you know, and you'll know how to kind of like, I don't know if I want to use the word translate that to the crowd. They'll pick
Mhm.
up on the vibe, whatever you guys do up there, and I'm sure they're gonna
Yeah,
love it, you know.
yeah. I think I just think like we're probably at a point now to where it's like I'd rather play the song really well rather than like the song be like all right, but we're like fucking running around like idiots. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Right.
when I look back at live footage of yes, it's tight, and Zach, Mike, and Mike are like machines. But like a lot of the vocals live really suffered because I was so consumed with just movement that
Uh,
like there's no way anybody could physically sing and literally do an hour and a half workout basically.
yeah, it's not
You know,
realistic.
it's not. And
Yeah.
so like I look back at some of that stuff and some of them, I'm like, okay, cool, I got through that song all right. And some of those like live performances, I'm just like, oh God, yeah. I was like visually it was cool, but like sonically, audibly, I'm just like, dude, I'm like tweaking through this. Like, you know what I mean? And like I don't want to be, like a caricature of myself like Vince Neil today. You
Oh
know what
my
I mean?
God, Vince Neil.
You know?
Have you
It,
seen any of those videos of people doing the subtitles over?
and like part of me feels really bad because it's like of, of course he's not going to be able to do that anymore. Like
Yeah, exactly.
tonally drops over that's why Robert Plant doesn't that's why Led Zeppelin don't go on tour. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
they could,
yeah,
but it's like anyway, like my point being that like I would rather sound good today than like wow you with like, oh my God, he
right.
can still jump 4 feet. Like,
Yeah, that's
like,
that's the reason for the vocal coach, right? That you're looking for.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you
So
find one?
no, no,
No.
no, not yet. So I just it's really stamina. Like I have no problem like hitting the notes and like getting through like the song. It's just doing it over and over and over. Like so it's just like, so I've started kind of like, you know, um I won't say training, but like definitely conditioning, getting my heart rate up, just like working on just yeah, like stamina,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Stamina is a big part of a show for sure.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
very people probably wouldn't think of that it is, but it's really physical up
Yeah.
there. Maybe
Yeah.
not in the same ways that in like going to a gym and lifting the weights and stuff, but it's still it taxes your body,
Oh,
you
it
know.
is. Definitely.
Like
Yeah.
I was running through. Are you familiar with a band called SR-71?
No.
No,
Mm.
well they have a song called Broken Handed where there's some high notes in there, and I hurt my vocal cords hitting those notes before I got sick and lost my voice. Um, and man, I totally just lost my train of thought with that. The reason
How
why my kid's climbing again, he keeps distracting me. But
no, how it's physically demanding, you
yeah,
know?
that was exactly, yeah. You brought me back to what my point was is just in different ways. Like for a singer, like they don't understand what's going on in your throat, your diaphragm and stuff like that. It's a lot of moving working parts that they don't visibly see.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not even I don't e- I just sing privately to myself, and I know that just because I familiarize myself with that stuff because I have a natural interest in it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I sing Jumpstart almost every day, you know.
Right.
Like it's a pretty easy song to sing and flow through. It's not like it's super high notes or anything, but it's in its own right. It's a song that I use it to warm up my voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good song for that. It's not the craziest song vocally, but it works.
Right. Right.
Um yeah, anyway, I don't know if I had a point to that other than just the physical aspect of it,
Yeah.
but I know where you're coming from
Yeah.
with your anxiety that you have for the live show. I think you guys are gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're old. Yeah, you're older, but who isn't older that wasn't in a band back then that's still doing it today? Like, look at Jacoby. He doesn't sound exactly the same, but he freaking slays.
right. Right.
So.
No, exactly. Like I know we'll be all good. Um, but yeah, singing is it's so mental, so if
Mhm.
you're confident, if you're kind of questioning yourself, it's like then you're not going to be good. It's like, and if you have a mindset that like, dude, you're going to kill it and you are killing it, you can get through a lot of adversity. You know what I mean? So I just want to get to the point to where we're so rehearsed that like I'm not having to think about, oh, what's the next word? What's the next part? Oh, here comes the big chorus. It just happens, you know?
Are you
So.
still having to hold your paper? Like in that little snippet of Hey You that you have up on your Instagram?
Yeah, no, so the lyrics are coming back. I've been practicing and like as a band we've been practicing. So like no, I'm purposely like not using cheat sheet unless it's I'm just completely like spacing on an entire verse or section or something. But yeah, no, it's yeah, that stuff's coming back, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, it was over 20 years, so it's only fair that you wouldn't get everything just like right out the gate again, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
One sec, I'm sorry.
Okay, all good.
Come here, buddy. You're wreaking havoc over here. Oh, yeah, you're right. Let's put that back up. All right. You want a snap? Go, buddy. Here, buddy. All right. 5-year-old man, I tell you.
Wait till they're 18.
Oh yeah. That's I wouldn't have had a kid if I wasn't signing up and ready or not ready, but yeah, I know how the story goes. I'm only 5 years in, but
Right.
yeah. What were you saying before I had to get up again? Oh yeah, I mentioned the cheat sheets. Yeah.
Right. No, lyrics are coming back. We're good there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is what's is there a song you're looking forward to most singing live again? Like at all?
At this point, no, I think they're all pretty equally like um challenging is not the right word. They're all like I have equal interest in like all of them, you know, still so fresh and new. Um I would like to get a new one done and in the can to possibly do live in March.
Mm-hmm.
Um if that starts to take shape and become like starts to look like it's going to become a reality, I'll be super excited to do a new one.
Yeah. Your
Uh,
guys' live set, you said you didn't have one yet. Have you thought about having your guys that manage your management that run your Facebook post up a question to the fans and ask them, hey, what would you guys think would be awesome to hear live again? What do you think about that?
I don't necessarily have a problem with it. We haven't gone as far as to like talk about proposing it to
Okay.
the our followers, fan base, whatever you want to call it. But we're all very uh open and keen to kind of paying attention to the trends and seeing where the traction goes. So for instance, like if organically it just happens that like a lot of people are like, dude, man, I really love, such and such song. Like it'd be so great to hear that one. Like, all right, like we're taking notice, you know what I mean? So yeah, we're definitely open to like what fans want to hear. I don't know that we're like ready to go, okay, let's take a poll. You know what I mean? Because I almost I don't know. We might, if we come to a standstill internally where we're just like can't decide between one or two or three songs, yeah, maybe we'll set it up to like, hey, what do you guys, if you had to pick one of these, what would it be? You know?
Mhm.
Um, But I almost think like I almost feel like we I don't know. I feel like it's not gonna be really agonized over. I think it's gonna be obvious to us what is gonna work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I think it's only gonna become an issue when it's like kind of the lesser popular tunes. It's not like we're Pearl Jam and we've got like 50 hits. So it's like, oh, we'll
Right.
just top 10, you know what I mean? So I think the obvious ones are obvious. Like, are we gonna play Hey You? Of course. Are we gonna play Life Jacket? Of course. Are we
Gotta play
gonna play
Blister.
are we gonna play Blister? Of course. Are we
Yeah.
gonna play Sure. You know what I mean? And then it kind of starts to get a little like, I don't know, like we can pick and choose. Like, what's one of your favorite songs off Shut Your Breath and Jumpstart? What's one of yours? Like, I mean, there's
Yeah.
only so much time. It's not like to play for 2 hours,
Right. I mean, I definitely have my top, I would say 5 that I would want to hear, which I've got Dead Weight at the very
Okay.
top.
Yeah.
And I got Hey You.
All right.
And I got Limos. I've got
Okay.
Tourniquet. I've got Dyslexic Smile.
All right.
They're all off Shut Your Breath. I mean, it's
Right.
obvious reasons why, right? That's my favorite album from you guys. And
Yeah.
then for a 6th, I would say, I don't know why I didn't say Blister. That's an obvious one,
Yeah, because you can
But
hear
yeah,
Blister.
yeah.
Uh,
But
no,
I mean,
a Dead Weight like that one I've thought about, and it's a long one, so it's kind of like you got to settle into that one. Like,
it's almost
all right,
2 songs in
yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
for length.
but I like the sludgy, like just personally, like I love that stuff. Like, I'd be down to do LS too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, between those 2 songs, just right there, that's 15 minutes of your set. You know what I mean? Which is fine. I mean, it's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. But
right.
yeah, we'll see. We got a couple little special things lined up too. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think it's gonna be something that once you guys get up there and you're doing it, you're gonna be like, it feels good.
yeah.
That felt good.
We'll just turn it into fucking karaoke. All right, what next?
Yeah. Anybody want to come up and sing
Yeah,
a line?
right.
Anybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I won't lie. I'd totally jump up there and run through Jumpstart or Hey You with you in a heartbeat. I might not sound as good as you, but I'd do it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I gotta get my kid dinner. He's starting to get a little antsy.
All
We could do this again whenever you feel like you got time. I won't put a date on it, but
right.
when the thought arises, I'll get a hold of you and see where you're at.
Yeah, just hit me
And
up like.
yeah, but drive safe, get
All right,
home
man.
safe,
Yeah.
and enjoy your birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. All right, you
All right.
take it easy.
All right, you too. Well, we'll see you.
All right.
Bye, man. Bye.